Hello and welcome to the SBR Megane Series Trophy, brought to you in association with PJ Parcels. We thank you for your sponsorship. Let's take a look at the grid for race 2. On pole we have Andy from Brian, Dylan, Nick, Jamie, Luke, Phil, Deck, Ryan, Jordan, Ollie and James at the rear. Let's take a look at the highlights for race 2. As we see the rolling start for race number 2, and Andrew brings us round nicely for the start of the second race. And the lights go out now and away we go. We've got Andrew obviously leading away, and Luke now fighting away, or looking to bring up a bit of a fight with Brian into turn number 1. Andy a little bit slippery and slidey out of turn number 1. Luke has now certainly got a run on Brian. Dylan on the outside line as well. It's going to be 4 in 1 going into turn number 2. It's Luke up the inside there. He's just caught Andy a little bit, yeah, slight turn, but he has come away with the lead. We'll have to see what the stewards have to say about that. And Dylan now up into third. Looks like Nick's up the inside of him there as well. A fantastic start from the midfield runners. Brian unfortunately losing out in turn number 3. Declan having a massive run, and a bump again up on Nick. That's pushed Dylan wide out into the gravel, and now Declan spun Nick, and Nick's into the front end of Phil, and that's all mayhem behind. Nick's spun round massively. Dylan's in the gravel, and it looks like Deck has come away with is that 4th position there, with Ryan and Jamie behind. James moving up through the field very, very quickly, very nicely as well for him. And Brian a little bit pushy and bargy coming out of turn number 6 with Deck. Maybe Deck trying round the outside there. We didn't see the beginning of the move, and that's pushed him back into the clutches of Ryan, as James is up the inside of Jamie, and Ollie's now going to try going up the inside of both of them, and is successful by the looks of it, as James runs out wide. Jordan's now up the inside of Jamie, and he's got a position off of James as well. Now Phil's going to try his luck going round the inside of Jamie as well. Jamie losing, 1, 2, 3, 4 positions there in the space of one corner, and up the front it's all bumper to bumper. Brian into the rear of Andy, and now it's Deck who's going to have a bit of a run, but we jump to the mid-pack and we see Ollie now up the inside of Brian. James trying to follow suit. Jordan going round the outside. Brian trying to figure out which line's best to take. Phil spending a penalty going into the second corner. It looks like it's James who's come out on top, and he's actually going to challenge Ryan now, who looks like he was held up slightly on the exit there by Andrew. Coming out of turn number 2. James round the outside of both, down the inside of both Andy and Ryan, and it's anyone's guess behind them really. Andy unfortunately being shuffled out into the gravel and just going backwards. Real shame there for him. A fantastic start, getting a lap in the book in second place, but just getting shuffled down through the pack unfortunately. As we see Brian now going to have a challenge on Ryan, but also looking in his rearview mirror as Jordan is up close behind. We go back to Luke in front, who's managed to gallop away that little bit. He's got a nice gap to the pack behind. Jordan now putting a bit of pressure coming out the final corner onto Brian, and he's got the inside line just about, has he? Yes, he has. He's got the inside line up into the braking zone of turn 1. Can he get the move done on Brian? No, he falls back. Sees Phil there as a possibility and a threat. Coming out of turn number 1. A little bit sideways out of turn 1 for Jordan. Phil's right up in the slipstream of Brian, but Jordan's got the inside line. Phil jinks to the slipstream of Jordan, hoping to take advantage and hoping to get the slipstream and the position off of Brian. Up the inside is he just about, and he's turned Brian. That's such a shame. We'll have another look. We'll have a replay on board with Phil, trying to follow Jordan through up the inside of Brian, and just that slight touch on the rear bumper spins Brian round, and away he goes unfortunately. We go back to the battle for second place, and it's anyone's guess. We've got Ollie, we've got Deck, we've got James, we've got Ryan. 4 cars in here, boys, will not go into 1. And now Jordan, with all the bumping and banging in turn number 3, Jordan's caught the pack up as well, so we'll make it a 5-way battle. They spread out slightly coming out of the out of turn number 3 into turn number 4, almost a one line through that corner, but James and Ryan do their best to try and take it 3 wide. As we go back to Brian, who's recovering with Andy and Nick there, recovering earlier as well from his spin. Both of them up the inside of Andy. Nick trying to go up the inside of Brian. Andy thinks about trying the same line. Nick backs out of the move. Brian's a little bit wide out of turn number 1. Is that going to give them a run up the inside to turn number 2? We go back to the front, boys, and we see that Phil is now up the inside of Dylan. Dylan trying the switch back and back up the inside and back into position ahead of Phil there. You can see the pack of 5 ahead of them as we see James and Jamie fighting away. I think James spent a penalty on the lap previous. That's put him down and pulling away that little bit from the guys ahead. And Jamie a little bit too early on traction coming off of turn number 2 on the sausage curve, spins him round. As we see Nick and Brian, Jamie's got himself back going. By the looks of it, the yellow flag's still out, so Jamie's a little bit slow maybe coming away. We're going on board with Nick coming out of turn number 6, hot on the heels of Brian. A huge run on Brian. He flicks to the inside. Can he get the move done into turn number 7? Only 8 corners on this Red Bull Ring circuit. We go to the rear camera and we see he has got the job done. That inside line prevailing just about for Nick, as the leaders have now, or the guys in second have now caught leader Luke. Ollie making a very quick and early move up the inside. Thank you very much, he says to Luke. Thank you for keeping my place warm. I'll take it over now. I'm going to try and scamper away. You can hold everyone else up. Declan that little bit wide onto the gravel as Jordan puts the pressure onto Luke for second place. It's cost Declan a little bit of time as Ryan now is fighting away with him for 4th place. And Jordan now hot on the heels of Luke. He's in the slipstream. Decides making a move into turn number 7. And Declan and Ryan still fighting massively together. They come round the last corner. Jordan's in the slipstream of Luke. Declan and Ryan both fighting across the line, side by side, completely off the racing line. But Ryan's got the inside line. Declan spends a penalty going into turn number 1. As we jump on board with James, Declan's run out wide. That will certainly give James a nice run up into turn number 2 and a chance to take the position off of Deck. We can't see him. We're looking in the rearview mirror. We're looking every which way. We look ahead. We see Luke now fighting with Jordan. Jordan trying to go round the outside, get that switch back onto the inside for turn number 3. Will he do it? He's almost got his front bumper in line with the rear bumper of Luke. He tries to run down. He's got that little bit of slipstream there from Ollie. Not something Ollie would really want to be doing. If anything, he'd want to help Luke out maybe and just try and hold Jordan up that little bit more. Luke's giving plenty of room to Jordan. By giving the plenty of room, he's given the place to Jordan. Has now put him under pressure, as we can see from Ryan behind. Ryan all over the rear bumper, looking, thinking about it. And again, Luke's that little bit wide in turn 7. Has he cooked the tyres early, unfortunately? We flick to the front camera and we see Ryan pulling away down the main straight ahead of Luke. And now we've got Ollie and Jordan fighting together yet again for the lead. These two seem to be inseparable. They were at Brands Hatch sharing a win apiece. And these two were together again in race number 1 here, before Jordan had to spend his penalty, unfortunately. And yet again, we see them together, bumper to bumper. We jump on board with Jordan. Race number 2, they're together again. Jordan's right up in the slipstream. Put another lap in the book. Across the start-finish line, he's got a good run into turn number 1. He decides to go against the turn at the inside line. That slight nudge, he loses the momentum into turn number 1. But seems to have a slightly better exit than Ollie on the drive up the hill to turn number 2. Is he going to have a think about going towards the inside? He thinks about it, he thinks about it, he thinks about it, he decides against it, he sticks with Ollie. Maybe the decision here, given that Ryan is in second place with James right behind him, maybe the decision between these two is unofficially to try and put a bit of distance between themselves and the cars behind and then fight it out. Maybe in the last couple of laps, we shall have to see. As I say that, Jordan jinks to the inside to try and take the lead off of Ollie. Bit of bumping, bit of boring, and a little bit of pushing wide. and they still haven't given it up. Ollie's back up the outside and back ahead of Jordan. This is not going to work out if these boys just want to get a bit of distance. Ollie back on board with Ollie, looking back at Jordan. And you can see physically that both Ryan and James are a little bit closer in the background there. That's actually James, who's now third. Something's happened to Ryan. He's dropped back that little bit. And James is now battling away in third place and catching these boys very, very quickly. We go back on board with Jordan into turn number 4 here. And he is all over the rear bumper of Ollie. Can he do anything about it before James catches these guys? He is clearly going to catch him up. It's going to happen. You can see him now. He's in the same frame as these boys. The fighting between them has not worked. They haven't worked enough together to pull the distance ahead. And it's soon going to be a 3-way battle for the leaders. Ollie's a little bit slow out to turn 7. That's put Jordan out wide. And now it has made a 3-way battle for the leaders. James joins them coming out of the final corner. Another lap in the books. As Ollie goes defensive, that's certainly going to hamper his run up to the hairpin. Jordan trying to go round the outside. He's going to get a better run. James is already pulling to the inside of Jordan. He says, thank you very much, I'll have that inside line. 2 wheels on the grass, pushing Jordan back. No, I'm already here, he says. He's got the slipstream with Ollie as well to help him, as he tries to go 3 wide into the hairpin. This surely isn't going to work, boys. Who's going to chicken out? Nobody chicken out. Jordan on the brakes first. James up the inside. Ollie trying to go around the outside now of James. Jordan in that slipstream of the 2 of them, deciding to go with James's slipstream. Try to get the inside line. But Ollie's actually got the better run. Trying to go around the outside of James. Surely this isn't going to work. An extra time for Ollie. And sure enough, James does grab that position. And Jordan's going to try and go up the inside, which is going to become the outside for turn 4. Can he get the job done round the outside? We saw Dylan spin off earlier on the marbles, but no, he just about sticks it with Ollie round the outside, but Ollie's got the inside line. Now he's trying to go up the inside. Slight touch pushes Ollie wide, but Jordan's also lost a bit of momentum, and now Ryan and both Ryan and Declan are now trying to catch these 3 up as well. Could it become a 5-way battle for this lead before the end of the race? We will have to see. As we see Ollie now with a decent run on James. James pulling right up into the inside, almost not taking the right-hander and going right out to the grass. And it has become a 5-way battle on the last lap, as Ryan has a little nudge and a push with Declan. We'll have to see what the stewards say about that one, because it cost Declan a lot of time. And the front 3 still battling away. James still deciding not to take the main racing line, sitting on the middle of the racetrack. As Luke and Phil now battle it out. Luke unfortunately falling back down through the field that little bit after a fantastic start. Phil's now got in front of Luke, as we see both Nick and Jamie yet again battling away. Jamie's up the inside of Nick this time. Not a lot of resistance there from Nick. Maybe Nick realising that Jamie is that slightly bit quicker here today. As we go to the penultimate corner and we see James fighting away still for his victory, and it looks like he's just about going to get it. But who's going to be second? We've got Ollie and Jordan all together. Jordan trying to go up the inside, but James is going to come across the line with Ollie and Jordan, and then Ryan top 4. Declan in 5th, Phil, then Luke, as we go back and we see if Jamie and Nick can sort their battle out coming across the line. Nick's got a better run, but the line is too close coming out the corner, and Jamie takes the position. So, winner there of James from Ollie, Jordan, Ryan, Jamie and Nick there in 6th place. 7th we see Declan, then Luke, Phil, Brian, Andy, and unfortunately Mark was unable to take the grid for this race. So the championship, we have the leader is Ollie from Jordan, Ryan, Nick, Russell, Declan, James and Luke. As we go to the bottom half of the table, Jamie from Brian, from Matt, who was unable to attend this week, Phil, Mark and Andy at the rear. Thank you very much for watching this round's highlights, and we hope to see you soon next week for round 3.